Have you ever felt guilty for not texting back right away? Felt the pressure to constantly stay in touch, to prove that you care, to maintain a rhythm of interaction just so no one feels neglected? We've been taught that proximity equals presence, that true friends should talk every day. That connection must be constant, or it doesn't count. But here's the truth. Real friendship doesn't demand constant contact. It trusts the space between words. True friends don't keep score. They don't mistake silence for abandonment. They don't confuse your need for solitude with rejection. Because when a bond is real, when it's built on mutual understanding and respect, distance is not a threat. It's a mirror, a test, a quiet reminder of what still holds even when we're not holding on. This video is about that kind of friendship. The kind that doesn't collapse under silence. The kind that doesn't get bitter when life gets busy. The kind that lives quietly in the background of your life, steady and unwavering, even when days, weeks, or months pass without a word. Let's talk about the friendships that don't fear space. Because they were never built on obligation, but on authenticity. They say time and distance reveal everything. But if that's true, then real friendship, authentic soul. Deep friendship is the kind that not only survives distance, it grows through it. In a world that glorifies constant connection, we forget that silence can also be sacred, that sometimes the best conversations happen without words. That presence isn't measured by pings or notifications, but by how safe you feel when you're absent. When friendship feels like breathing. The best friendships don't feel like work. They don't exhaust you. They don't make you feel guilty when life gets busy. They feel like breathing, natural, effortless grounding. You can go weeks without talking, and when you do reconnect, nothing feels lost. There's no bitterness, no resentment, no emotional ledger of missed texts or calls. Because real friends don't just hear your silence, they understand it. They know that space doesn't mean distance. It just means life is happening. And that's okay. Constant contact isn't connection. We confuse frequency with intimacy. We assume that daily check-ins mean we're close. But closeness isn't measured by how many messages you exchange. It's felt in the depth of the few words that actually matter. True connection is not built on maintenance. It's built on meaning. You can speak to someone every single day and still feel empty. And you can go a month without speaking to someone else and feel more seen in one message than in all those others combined. Real friendship isn't a performance. You don't have to prove that you care. You simply do. Respecting space is a sign of maturity. The most powerful friendships are not the ones that cling. They're the ones that release with trust. They're the ones that say, "Go live your life. I'm not going anywhere. Take your time. You don't have to explain. When you're ready, I'll be here." This is what emotional maturity looks like. It's being able to stand beside someone even when you're not in the same place. It's not confusing silence with separation. It's knowing that true connection doesn't break when it's not constantly fed. It simply rests. The friend who trusts your solitude. If you've ever had a friend who didn't take your quiet moments, personally hold on to them. That friend who doesn't make you feel bad when you disappear for a while. That friend who doesn't interpret your lack of response as rejection. That friend who understands that your world is full and still trusts their place in it. That's not just a friend. That's a gift. Because most people don't give space, they demand it. They need constant reassurance, constant proof, constant access. And when you step back to breathe, they take it as abandonment. But real friends, they know that your absence doesn't mean indifference. It means you're human, and they meet you there with patience, not pressure. What real friendship feels like. It feels like comfort, not performance. It feels like ease, not effort. It feels like safety, not surveillance. You don't have to over-explain your moods. You don't have to schedule every moment. You don't have to pretend to be okay just to keep the vibe light. You just get to be you. Even when you're messy, even when you're tired, even when you don't show up for a while. And when you do show up again, they're not holding a grudge. They're holding space. That's real. Distance filters out fragile bonds. There's a reason distance can feel threatening, because fragile connections require constant attention. They depend on being maintained, polished, held together by routine. But authentic friendships, they're resilient. They don't need you to perform. They don't fall apart when schedules clash or life gets chaotic. They bend, they flex, they breathe. Distance doesn't break them. It filters out what was never strong to begin with. You're allowed to outgrow constant maintenance. Not every friendship can survive this kind of quiet, and that's okay. Because sometimes what you called friendship was really just shared obligation. A mutual pattern of checking in because you were afraid of what it would mean if you didn't. But growth looks like not fearing space anymore. Growth looks like trusting the bonds that don't suffocate. Growth looks like no longer feeding friendships that only survive when you overextend. You are not a bad friend for needing space. You are not distant for choosing silence. You are not cold for not replying instantly. You are simply evolving. How to recognize authentic bonds? Ask yourself, who gives you space without guilt? Who lets you return without punishment? Who trusts your silence and meets you with love? Those are your people. Keep them, cherish them, and if the bond fades, let it. Because real friendship doesn't demand that you always be available. It just wants you to be real when you are. So, if you're someone who's been drifting a little, if you've been afraid that your silence might have cost you some connections, ask yourself this. If distance was all it took to end the friendship, was it ever truly friendship to begin with? Because the ones who are meant to stay will, not because you always reach out, but because you're always welcome back. Real friendship doesn't fear space. It respects it. It grows inside it. So take your time, take your breath, and when you're ready, come home. They'll still be there,